So, about this dangle curse. Curses and jinxes don't exist. Yeah, whatever helps you sleep at night. So the Penguins have been amazing ever since you said they weren't. I noticed that, yeah. Do you think this means if you talk crap about the Leafs, they'll magically appear in the playoffs? Of course not. Your superpowers suck. Woo! Are you just gonna get hammered? Get me a toaster. Magic Angel Robot from Winnipeg!
What the hell are you talking about?
This team is ruining my life! Which game should I talk about? Oh, there was only one? Okay. The Pittsburgh Penguins win 4-2 over the New York Rangers. They take a 3-1 series lead. The Penguins are undefeated since I said they were not that great. But here's the thing about that. Since I said that, they've been playing great. Oh, I keep forgetting how this jinxing thing works. You're welcome, Rangers fan. I don't stop everyone yelling at me. But you know, there's traditional hockey beliefs and the eye test and advanced stats and all this cursing, voodoo, jinxing craziness. Here's what the Penguins and Rangers series has been so far. The Penguins are playing well. The New York Rangers are not. The Rangers are not playing as well as I think they can. Coming into the series, even though they beat the Blue Jackets, the Penguins were not playing as well as I thought they could. So right now, at least for the time being, you got a team that is heating up and a team that is cooling down. The team that's heating up is up 3-1. These are the NHL playoffs. We've seen crazier things. Who knows? Maybe it turns around. But for right now, oh, the Penguins look pretty good. And it's the East, so again, I can't say anything. I'm a jinx. Like, I know it's silly, but it's gotten to the point where I'm legitimately afraid to say anything. If you want proof of a jinx, look no further than the first goal in this game. Malkin to Crosby. Crosby tries to give it back to Malkin, and the hockey gods decide, screw the New York Rangers. The puck bounces off two different Rangers and ends up on Evgeny Malkin's stick. That goal really was some omnipotent being just going, screw the Rangers. One of at least a couple goals in this game where Lundqvist is like, oh, really? Because what is a king to a god? I believe prominent hockey analyst Kanye West said that. Kanye West was in The Love Guru. A lot of people forget that. He was in a movie about hockey. Anyway, the other creepy part about this jinx was Marc-Andre Fleury back-to-back shutouts, and I'm like, okay, this is getting weird. Finally, that streak is snapped. Carl Hagelin scores tie game. Until later in the period, Rick Nash decides to fall down. Gibbons gets the chance short-handed. Sutter buries it. Oh, Rick Nash. Oh, poor Rick Nash. 0 goals, 4 assists in these playoffs. There were whispers about Rick Nash's struggles, but because the Rangers were winning and because a player with a higher profile than Nash, Sidney Crosby, had yet to score a goal, no one was really talking about it. The second Crosby scored his first of the playoffs, focus shifted like, ding! Rick Nash sucks! And people just start pounding on the guy. But you know, that's not really fair. Well, I mean, the criticism is fair. You expect Rick Nash to score goals. You expect him to at least get some assists, and he hasn't even done that for 6 games. But you know who else doesn't have a point in half a dozen games? The guy who requested a trade, the guy who won the scoring title last year, Martin St. Louis. And I don't understand it. It's like how last video when I was talking about how there isn't much of a defined difference between cocky and confident. Between Nash and St. Louis, we're talking about 2 players having very similar struggles. One is front page, getting booed out of the arena news. The other is just Martin St. Louis. I thought the Rangers traded their captain for this guy. Just saying. You tell me, what's all that about? UCI got claimed off waivers. Jokinen scores to make it 3-1. Matt Zuccarello scores to make it 3-2 and bring the Rangers within 1. But Chris Kunitz scores to make it 4-2. That is the end. Crosby with another 2 assists in this game, but they weren't goals, so apparently we're not allowed to talk about it. 9 points in 10 games. He's just been awful. Oh. Quick note about Crosby. Now, hockey fans can be very conflicted, and I'm not immune from that. All year long, especially with the Leafs, I've been talking about, I'm anti-goon. Not anti-fighting, anti-goon, and there is a difference. There are players who can only fight, and they suck outside of the fighting. Screw those players, they suck. 99 times out of 100, they're not going to help you win a game. They might help you feel better by punching someone you don't like in the face, but they're not going to help you win on the score sheet. Then I look at a guy like Milan Lucic, a guy who can turn your face into pulp and score 30 goals. I like that. Keep that. The other guy, blah. And I think that's pretty sound logic. And then I see that footage of Mark Stahl cross-checking Sidney Crosby in the back of the head. And then I see more footage of him basically going for Crosby's head in this game. I'll post a link to it down below just in case you think I'm making it up. And you know what? Mark Stahl is allowed to be mean to Sidney Crosby. He's certainly allowed to get physical. He's a defenseman, Crosby's a forward. That's the nature of this relationship. But he's very clearly targeting the head. And it's not just anybody's head, it's best player in the game, Sidney Crosby's head. It's best player in the game who was out for like over a year with a concussion problem, Sidney Crosby's head. And I look at this and I go, how does Dan Bilesma resist the urge to get the biggest, meanest, ugliest, club-wielding, knuckle-dragging goon from here to the ECHL to just destroy Stahl? Have you ever seen the movie Troy? That scene where Achilles just screams for Hector? Just stand the biggest goon you can find outside the Rangers bench until Mark Stahl gets off of it. Mark Stahl! And that's my reptilian prehistoric brain thinking. But here's why you don't do that. 1, this isn't the movies and Brad Pitt's not a penguin. 2, like I said earlier, that doesn't help you on the score sheet. Well, it might help keep Sidney Crosby in the lineup longer, but that's where number 3 comes in. Sidney Crosby is the greatest hockey player alive right now. The Penguins could bring out one of the scary mercenaries from Game of Thrones just to beat the other team to death with a mace, and the next game, there will be someone else to go at Crosby, because he's Sidney Crosby. If there's a chance to throw him off his game or take him out of the lineup, NHL players will take that chance 10 times out of 10. And one last little chestnut for number 4. They're up 3-1. No point getting sidetracked now. So let me ask you, what would you do? So that's it for this one. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it and you want to see more. Tell all your friends. Again, link down below, and I will see you next time. This is the closest thing I can find to an ancient war mask, okay?